Hello everyone, in today's video we have another Rainbow Six extraction guide and we're going to be going over every single objective that is in this game today. I'm aiming to give you some hints and tips on how to complete each objective, and I'm hoping these help if you do want to increase the difficulty a little bit as you progress on the game. Now these objectives are very easy to do on like the easiest difficulty. You can pretty much run and gun. It's not that difficult, but as you do increase that difficulty, stealth is needed a little bit more and you do need to be careful and you do need to make good decisions. So I've been playing this game a lot. I found out a few hints and tips that you can use for each objective that will make things easier, and that's exactly what this video is today. I got a chance to do the assignments as well, as you can see on screen now, the assignment that's currently running, and also the protocol. So we're going to be covering them in this video also. Be sure to hit like and share on this video today if you do enjoy it. I truly appreciate that. Hit subscribe for more content from myself. I do have some more Rainbow Six extraction guides planned, and we also have a great community. If you're looking for others to play with, I can't recommend playing with others enough on this game. It's heavily teamwork like based, and if you do have a team to play with, you're going to have a much better experience. So if you need a team, come and check out our community. The link's at the top of the video description. Click that before you leave here today and try and find yourself a team. So first off, there are 11 objectives that you can be faced with while you're playing Rainbow Six Extraction. And the first one we're going to cover here is Specimen. Now, this is a very easy one to do, but it's one of the ones it took us the longest to figure out what to do. And it couldn't be simpler, really. You just got to find the target, you got to lure it back to the extraction zone, and you got to capture it. It is as easy as that. Now, stealth is obviously your best option. If you can do that, stay stealth, don't get spotted. If you do get spotted before you find the target, then it will make things a little bit more difficult. But at the same time, if you do get spotted, it can lure the target out as well. So it can also work in your benefit. But what I would advise is to stay stealth and use things like your scan grenades. If you can scan the target, or go and look for it with your drone. But as soon as you find it, all you've got to do is shoot it to get its attention, and it's going to give chase to you. So you see on screen now, I've just popped a shot at it, and now he's going to chase me, and I just got to lure it back to the extraction. Now he is going to scream out to other aliens at this point, and you will get attention, but you are going to be on the move now, and you just got to take that target back to the extraction, and as soon as it's on this pad, you can hit this button. Now, in fact, me saying that's actually incorrect. Now, what I was doing was waiting for it to get on the pad to hit the button. You can hit it before the enemy gets on the pad. There is like a countdown, so as long as it's close, hit the button, and as soon as it steps on the pad, it's going to be captured. The next objective that we're going to cover is the Decontamination objective, and with this one, it wants you to locate aberrant nests. Now, these are a little bit different than the normal nest. They're not red in color, they're going to be yellow in color, and as always, your best bet is to be stealth, remain stealth, don't get spotted, and try and find where these are located. So take your time. If you do get spotted, it will make things a little bit more difficult, so just don't get spotted. Sometimes where these are located, there will be a few enemies as well, so a scan grenade again is always good to just scan the area out and have a look what is there, so you can get rid of it and then take on the objective. Now, depending on your squad size will depend on how many of these you need to destroy. When you find them, you just basically got to destroy them and collect a sample. That's what you're going to be doing. And if you're in solo, it's going to be 5 that you need to destroy. If you're in a duo like me and Raddy are now, there's going to be 10 that you need to destroy, and if you're in a trio, it's going to be 15. So after you've cleared the area around the nest, you're free then to go and destroy them. So what we do is we count where they all are, and we plan how we're going to destroy these, because what's going to happen from the moment you start shooting one or you destroy one, enemies will spawn from every single one of these nests straight away. So if you don't plan it, this can quickly become very, very difficult. So make sure you've got a plan at hand. If you've got like explosives, they're going to be very beneficial. The operator cruise is great. If there's a weak wall about, you can put on that cluster grenade where it fires a lot of cluster grenades for a weak wall. That works well as well. So anything explosive is going to be great. You can just use your guns also. Just explosives are going to make this a little bit easier. Find out where they all are, allocate nests to each individual, and time in when you're going to start shooting, and you want to get rid of them as quick as possible. Another thing to take note on these is that when you do destroy them, they are going to let off a gas that is going to be poisonous, and it is going to harm you. It takes quite a lot of health from you, so do keep at a little bit of a distance before you start shooting, otherwise you are going to take that damage. Once you've destroyed all of the nest, you simply just got to collect the sample, and that is the objective complete. Nest tracking is one of the easier objectives on the game, and this is actually taught in the tutorial. So it's one of the first things that you do, and it is all about stealth. So anything like scan grenades, again, are going to help you so you can see the area and whatnot. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings. And the thing with this, and where you can fail quite easily, is the nests that you need to track cannot be tracked if you do get spotted. So if an enemy does do their scream, and the radius covers any nests where the scream goes, those nests are going to become productive. They're going to release aliens, and you'll no longer be able to track them. Now, if you in an area alert all of the nests, so you don't have enough nests to complete the objective, you will fail the objective. So you do need to try and stay as stealth as possible. Just have a look around the whole area. Sometimes you can find a bunch of nests that have no enemies around, so that would obviously be better than going into a room that has a ton of enemies. But if you do take your time, it's not too difficult at all. And one thing to also take note is the position of this mission. Now, there's always 3 stages. The first stage of any incursion always has the less enemies, so if you get this, then it's going to be quite easy. The middle stage will have a few more enemies, and the final stage is going to have even more. If you get this as your third objective on an incursion, you know you've really got to go in there and take your time, because it's going to be much easier to get spotted. But it's not too difficult at all, to be fair. And once you've planted all of the tracking devices, the nests are going to explode, and it's going to be objective complete. The biopsy objective is another objective that will differ based on your squad size. If you're a solo, you're only going to have 1 target that you need to go and find and take down. If you're in a duo, there'll be 2. If you're in a trio, there will be 3. It's actually a very easy objective. It doesn't matter so much about getting spotted on this one at all, because stun grenades are your friend. All you need to do is find these biopsy targets. You can see we've got one here, an elite spiker. Just throw a stun grenade out. It's going to stun them, and you're going to be able to go and take them down. It's very, very easy. Now, obviously, if you can stay stealth, it is going to help, especially with your health and whatnot. But to be fair, I wouldn't worry too much about that, and I just worry about keeping control. If you do get spotted, kill any aliens around you, and when you do see those takedown targets, just make sure you throw that stun grenade, get it stunned, and just take it down. It really couldn't be any easier. And once you've took down both of the targets, all of the targets on the objective, you would have completed the objective, and you can move on. The only other thing to mention for this, I'd guess, is as you do get into the higher difficulties and the high, if you go to the most difficult one, you might get targets like smashers. There are some enemies like smashers that will have a requirement on how to take them down. And with a smasher, the weak spot is in his back. So you can still stun them, I think. But if you can't, as a team, how we do it, we get the attention from the smasher. So he turns his back to the other. And then the person who's got the smashers back to them is going to go behind and take them down. Hunt isn't that much different than Biopsy. With this, you need to go in and you are chasing targets again, but rather than having to take them down, you can just simply kill them. Yeah, you can still take them down if you want, if that's easier, because obviously a stun grenade and a takedown works very, very good, but you can just kill them. You're going to have 1 target, 2 target, or 3 targets, depending on how many are in your team, and once all of those targets are dead, you're going to get an elite target that spawns. This target is going to be very tanky, so I do advise taking in DPS with you, and you're just going to want to get it trapped, and you're going to want to shoot at it until it's dead. Once it's dead, the objective will be complete. It's as simple as that. Again, stun grenades are very, very OP. They are very, very tanky, but if you can get a stun grenade on them and take them down, then it's going to be much, much easier. Stealth is always your best option, as we keep saying through this video, but if you do get spotted and you are having to deal with other aliens, it might actually bring the targets out to you, so it's not always the worst thing, as long as you can manage it. I would advise, again, having a secondary with a suppressor on it, and having your main without the suppressor for the extra damage. Sabotage is one of the more difficult objectives, and this is only going to get higher as you increase the difficulty, and I'll explain why now. So your first objective is to find the arch spines, as we've just found on screen now, but they're always different. They're never in the same place. They can be positioned completely different. Sometimes there's one arch spine up above somewhere, sometimes there's one below. In this instance on screen now, they're quite close together, which does make it a little bit easier, but depending on their positioning and the way it renders in will depend how difficult this is going to be. Now, how we always do this is we like a little bit of DPS, so we're going to take in operators that can have a silent secondary, and we're going to take the silencer off of our main weapon and put on a muzzle brake or something, so our DPS is increased dramatically. Because what will happen is, with these arch spines, you need to plant some charges on both of them, and the second you do that, you're just going to get waves of enemies. It doesn't matter if you clear out the area or not. Like, we've gone around the whole map, cleared out every nest, cleared out every enemy, but the second we plant these charges, we are going to get swarms of enemies. It definitely helps to take out the nests in like the area, because with these swarms of enemies that come in, they could do that cry that they do, and any nests in the area will also spawn in more enemies. So I do advise clearing the area where you find these, but you're just going to have waves. So some other great tips here for these objectives. We don't actually do it on screen now, but there's some operators that can plant traps. As you get to level 17, I think you unlock a few that can place traps on the floor. You can place like a little bomb where if an enemy gets close, they'll get, they'll get blown away. You can see I'm kind of using one there with gas just to damage them, but I think I actually ended up damaging the charge. But yeah, there are some operators that can make this a little bit easier with traps, and I highly advise using them. But DPS is going to be your friend, because the quicker you can destroy these enemies, the easier it'll be. It can be very easy to get like overwhelmed on this, and the idea is not to let them damage any of those archers enough to destroy them. If they do that, the objective is going to fail, and you've got a minute and a half to defend them. As I said, this is tricky, but if you're taking traps and you're taking DPS, it can easily be done. Triangulation was one of the objectives we did kind of struggle on early on when we started playing this, but then when we found the method out on completing it, it couldn't be any easier. Now, what the objective wants you to do is you go in and you got to find some stations. You got to find Station A, Station B, and Station C. Obviously, there's loads of enemies around again, and stealth is your best option. But if you do get caught, again, it's not that important, because what you want to do is clear the whole area on a triangulation objective. So we just go around the map, clear all the nests, clear all the enemies, find out where A, B, and C is. And once you've done that, nothing is going to spawn in. On screen now, we've just cleared the whole area, and I'm just interacting with A, and I am free to just run from A to B to interact with that, and then from B to C to interact with that, and you get loads of time to do it, and not one enemy is going to be in my path. Obviously, if you do miss a few enemies, that's fine, you might bump into them or whatnot, but this objective couldn't be any easier. You can actually see I missed one enemy there, we missed some nests outside, but just literally just clear the area of everything, and then go and hit those 3 points, and the objective is complete. Stealth helps clearing the area, but really anything you like to clear adds. Serial scan is a similar sort of objective as to Sabotage, and again, it's quite a difficult one. It's another, I'd say it's one of the most difficult objectives, just like Sabotage, and what it requires you to do is you got to go and find the catalyst emitter. Once you've found this, it's quite easy to find when you find the holograms of people, because that's where it's going to be, but you interact with the catalyst emitter, and it's going to send you to 3 locations. You'll have to go and defend one location, and then the second, and then the third, and it's just a little square yellow box on the floor, so you got to stand in it and you got to charge it. It's kind of like a game of domination, and once it's 100% charged, you've captured it, you move on to the second, you move on to the third. Again, like with Sabotage, what's going to happen the second you stand on one of these squares, you're going to get swarms of enemies coming in to try and stop you from capturing it. Now, what we found the easiest way to do this is set up again for a bit of DPS, so operators where you can have a silence as a secondary and some DPS as a main by putting on a muzzle break or something. That's going to be your best bet. Explosives are always going to be handy as well. Any crowd control sort of skills too, traps and things like that. But there is a top tip here that can make this a little bit easier, where it differs from Sabotage, and that is if you clear the area before you start this, enemies are not going to start spawning in before you step on this square. You can see it in front of me here with the holograms. So until I step on that, we are free. There's no enemies. We can take our time, we can get set up, and then we can step on the square. As soon as we do this, this is when they spawn in. And if more of you are on the square, I've noticed the scan progress does speed up. So you want to get your whole team on the square if you can. If there's only one of you on it, that is fine. Once you've stepped on it, if all of you come off it, you've got a certain amount of time to get back on it too. So be wary of that. But another important point, to make here is once you've captured the first square, the enemies that are present, if you clear them all, you go back to like a safe spot again. So we can kill the enemies. We can then go and find the next next square we got to stand on, and we can step back up again. We can get traps out if we want. We can make sure we're ready to go before we step on it. There's no real time limit to that. Obviously, you have the 15 minutes to do the objective or whatnot, but you can take your time with this. Wait to step on the second square and do exactly the same again, and between the second and third one, you'll have time again to take your time and get prepped. So that makes this objective a little bit more easy than Sabotage, but it can still get tricky. The rescue objective is the only part of the game that I've kind of seen bugged right now. I'm not too sure whether it's working as intended, but when you start the objective, it pins the target for you right away, so you know where the asset is. I do think that's what's meant to happen, but sometimes when you're in a group, it'll ping it for one person, not the other, so they're going to have to like ping it for you. And in this instance now, in this recording that we did for this video, it never pinged the location for any of us. We had no idea where the asset was. We were running around for like 10 minutes trying to find it. We cleared the whole map, and we just could not find it. I actually thought, did the asset spawn in? It did. We found it in the end, and they were just sat on the floor somewhere crying, waiting for us. What's funny as well is the second you pick the asset up, they start coughing, which kind of alerts nearby aliens. And while we were looking for them, they just didn't have that cough, which was kind of funny. But anyway, back to the objective. This is quite simple. You just got to go and get the asset and recover them. They'll always have enemies around them. They're quite often hidden in rooms, and the idea is once you get to the asset, you need to try and clear the enemies around them. You've then got to have one of you interact with the asset, and you hold their hand and you take them to the extraction pod and you get them out of there. Now, as soon as you find the asset, if you do get alerted, what is going to happen is the enemies are going to try and kill that asset, and if they kill it, the objective is over. So stealth again is definitely key to this. Try and stay stealth throughout, because if you do alert the enemies, the likelihood is the asset is going to die unless you're quick enough to kill all the enemies around them. People I like for this, or operators I like for this, again, if they are like stuck in a room with loads of enemies, I like crews with the cluster grenades, because if there's a weak wall, I can just put the cluster grenades on there, I can set that off. That's going to clear most enemies in that room, then we can just go in and finish up. That's a great way of doing this, but it really doesn't matter how you go about it, really, apart from trying to stay as stealth as possible and make sure you clear the room before you pick up the asset and get them out of there. And as you can see on screen now, with just 2 minutes 10 seconds left to go of the objective time, we finally found the asset, and that is what they look like. Shutdown is the next objective that we're going to cover, and with this objective, as soon as you start, what you need to do is make your way to the extraction zone. You're going to pick up some injectors, and you need to take these injectors to the nutrient node to inject them. Now, if you're solo, it's just one injector. If you're duo, there's 2 you need to get. If you're trio, there's going to be 3 that you need to get, and this is what they look like. You just pull them out of the extraction zone, you'll get another marker on your screen, and that's where you need to take them. Sounds easy. Stealth is obviously your best option here. If you can stay stealth, it can be very easily done, and it's highly recommended on this one. If you get caught on this, it's very hard to recover, because how this objective works and what you are doing here is all of the nests on the level, if you kill them, they're going to respawn. So what you're doing is that the aim is you're injecting this nutrient node to stop that from happening, and it kills all of the nests. So as you can imagine, if you get caught on this, even if you shoot out all the nests in the area to get rid of the nest spawning the enemies and you clear the enemies, those nests are just going to respawn and spawn more enemies. So really do try and stay stealth on this. It can be done if you don't do a stealth, don't get me wrong. Like, you might be lucky enough where you could just run straight to the injector, pick it up and run straight to where you need to go to the nutrient node and put it in. But we have failed many a times on this, and I can't recommend stealth enough. So again, with stealth, things like scan grenades, anything that's going to scan enemies out, just take your time, watch your footsteps. The higher the difficulty, the harder this is, and the more care that you need to take. But on screen now, you can see that we're just about to place it in here. There'll be 2 that need to be placed, and once both of those are placed in, what's going to happen is all of those nests are going to die, and it's going to be objective complete, and you just need to get out of there. This next objective we're going to cover is not an objective that you're going to get without somebody dying on mission. This is like an extra objective during a mission if one of your teammates dies. So Raddy's going to get KO'd now, and you can see that a new objective comes up that says no one left behind. So whenever you are playing with people, if one of your teammates do go down and get KO'd, you've got a decision to try and get them out or not. If you can and you're in a good position, pick them up, take them to the extraction pod like this, and if you do that, you'll complete that objective. I'm not actually sure if you get much XP for that, but what will happen for your teammates, any XP they've earned, that operator is going to take that out with them so they don't lose it. Now, on the flip side to that is if you can't get the operator out, I don't know, they go down, they're in the middle of a ton of aliens, and there's just no way you're going to be able to save your mates. In those instances, you've got to look after yourself, but all is not lost. Now, that operator, if you do lose an operator, is going to hold that XP on them, and what's going to happen is if you go back to that map the next time round, you're going to have one opportunity to save them. So when you start this MIA operator mission, as soon as you're in it, if you fail, you're going to lose all that XP that's stored on that operator. We've actually never failed, but I assume you get the operator back still. You're just going to lose that XP. Now, one question I do have, and if you can answer this in chat, if you have lost one, do they reset to level 1? Do you have to start again with the leveling? That'd be interesting to know. I don't think you do, but imagine losing a level 10 operator. So what we do is that if ever we do lose one of our operators in combat and we can't get them out, we'll always go back to the easiest difficulty just to go and get them out. And it's very easy to get them out. You can see here, someone's going to be pulling them on what this thing that looks like a tree. They'll be holding the interact button, and it's just loads of these strings going to it that will be sending like energy to it. You can shoot the balls of energy or whatever it is going to the tree to stop it, or you can shoot the source of it to really slow it down. So you have one person shooting all that, you have one person interacting, and as long as all goes well, you pull the operator from the tree and you just got to get them to the extraction pod and get out of there. This will send your operator back into your like inventory, into your operator squad. They will be injured, and you'll get any XP back what they had on them. The final objective to talk about is the gateway objective. Now, this is only available on all of the difficulties above the easiest ones. So you can't get this on cautious. You can only get it if you up the difficulty a little bit. Now, whenever you do get the objective, it'll always be the third in line. So you're going to have 2 objectives to do before this. And this will be your third one. And the objective is to find this singularity and release it. So stay very stealth while you try and find this. You want to keep as much health as you can, because it's a tough task and it's a very fun one. It's like a boss battle. It's one of my favorite objectives, and you just need to find it, this singularity, and your whole team needs to interact with it. When you do that, you're going to go through the portal and you're going to enter like this arena where there's going to be a boss fight, and it's really, really cool. But you do want to keep as much health as possible up to that point, so stay as stealth as you can until you find this. But you are going to want DPS. So, as I advised earlier with some other objectives, maybe have a silent secondary, but your main weapon, you want to have a muzzle brake on maybe. You just want to take off the silencer because you want as much DPS as you can. You want to do as much damage as you can to this Protean. So, this is what the area looks like. The Protean's going to spawn in, and you've got to kill it. You can see the health bar at the top there. There are different ones that you can face, okay? Now, we've tested this. It's not different per difficulty. I think it's just random. This guy we're fighting now, we were on, I think, the 3rd highest difficulty, but we also fought him on the 2nd highest difficulty another time too. So it's kind of random. Not sure how many different ones there are to fight, but they all have the different abilities and how they attack you or whatnot. And with this one, when you get him half health, halfway down a health, he's just going to spawn in loads of swarm of enemies, and you got to defeat them. And then once you've done that, you can then go and kill him. And with his armor, you just got to get his armor gone, and he is going to be quite aggressive while the armor's there. There's another Protean where there's where you again has armor, and he just multiplies. There's loads of them about. You don't know which one's the real one, I don't think, but each one that you kill does do a little bit of damage, and when you nail it down to the one that it is, you'll do even more damage. I'm not sure if there's more, like I said, with more mechanics, but the general idea here is just to kill him. You don't want to be stood in one place. I tried to Chanka once with the LMG skill. It wasn't great because although that does good damage, that Protean's always moving about, and if he comes close to you, it's probably going to kill you. You want to always be on the move. And I did also say as well, you want as much health going into this as possible, but there is a lot of health in the area too. So when you do get a little bit lower health, go and find the med kits, run around the area. There's also a lot of ammo in here. You don't really need to worry about ammo beforehand because you got ammo in abundance in here. You have plenty of ammo to kill him. And my best tips for this is it is going to be tough. The first time you might fail. Keep practicing though. Just stay on your toes. Keep on moving. If you feel you're in a bad position, just run around the outside of the room. Keep on running, keep on running, keep on running until you're in a better position to kill him. Another thing that we made a lot of use of here was stun grenades. Whenever we're both together and in a better position, we'd throw a stun grenade out, which will stick him in position for a few seconds, and we both just let rip. And that is what happens when you kill him. It's over, the objective is over, and you get out of there. One more tip on this: if you are with a team and your teammate goes down, we just spoke about this, how they can get left in the mission. If you can complete this mission and your teammate's down, they will come back injured. There's no need, there won't be an MIA operator or anything. But if you do both go down, you will lose both of your operators and you will need to do the MIA mission. And that is all of the objectives covered that you can come across in Rainbow Six Extraction at the minute. They might add more in the future. I hope they do add more. But we're going to move on to assignments now. Assignments unlocks at about level 13, I think. I forget what it was. But they'll refresh every single week. This is not always going to be available. Right now we have this one. And this is the assignments, the wall-to-wall assignment. It goes through 3 of the objectives that we just discussed. We've got serial scan here, rescue, and a sabotage. And the difference with this assignment is you got an area lockdown that you got to do before you can move on to the next area. So once you've done the objective, you then got to do an area lockdown, which is basically just defending swarms and swarms of enemies until that door will unlock at the end to allow you to move on. You can still extract at any point, but what you're going to want to do is take in the best operators that you had. I'm not sure if you noticed, but the difficulty for this was critical, which is the highest difficulty. So you want operators of level 8 or above, and I highly recommend DPS for this assignment in particular, because this assignment, there's no stealth involved. There's actually no enemies on the map when you go in. And what's going to happen is just every so often, you're just going to get swarms of enemies running at you. There'll be like a sound that says this is happening. You're just going to kill those enemies that swarm at you while trying to take on the objective at hand. And here we had the objective where we had a serial scan. So we had to deal with the swarms of enemies on top of extra enemies when we were doing the squares on the floor and taking them over. So it was very, very fun. The DPS really helped on this one, and we were able to get the job done. This is the fastest way to level up as well. You get so much XP for completing one of these. You can see on screen now that I got over 40,000 XP for completing this, and it took just over 20 minutes. It was super fun as well. You're going to need a good team for it. It does have to be coordinated, and you do need some, comms basically to help you do this. 120% extraction bonus there. Insane amount of XP for 20 minutes, and it's the fastest way of leveling up for sure. Very fun as well. So as I said, it's going to be the same objectives that we just spoke about, just with a twist. And when they do refresh this next week to a different assignment, I'm not sure if it's going to be different mechanics every week, but I guess we're going to find that out. And the last thing to discuss in this video is the Maelstrom Protocol. This is a weekly activity, and it gives you 9 objectives and only 6 operators, as you can see there, to work with. So this is the most difficult content at endgame, and basically you can choose from those 6 operators, and you've got to tackle these 9 objectives. Now, you earn XP after each objective as it works, and you can extract after any given objective. Our first attempt of this was absolutely garbage. We didn't even make bronze. But a second attempt, we got in with someone. We got a random. They were quite good. They knew what they were doing. And we were able to get a silver score out of it. And it's no different than what you've been doing with the other objective. But again, it is at the highest difficulty. So recommended operator level is 8 and above. You're going to want to get as many operators at level 10 as you can. And the idea every week is just going to be to go in, learn what objectives are, learn how they play out, and get better at them. Unlike the rest of the game, where the objectives are random and every time you go into an objective, it will be different with different spawns and whatnot, with Protocol, it's going to be the same thing every single time. So once you've done the first objective once and you fail, you'll be going back in. The objective will be exactly the same with the spawns in the same location. So you're just going to be learning it throughout the week to see if you can eventually complete all 9 in one stint and get a score of over 95,000. And that is the goal of this Protocol weekly objective. On screen now, you can see our attempt from the other night. I've only tried this twice. This was the last one that we did, and I just got over 31,000. So at the end of each one, if you get an extraction, it's going to show you how much XP you get, and it'll show you how you ranked all the way up to diamond. We were lucky enough to get silver class. There's unlocks that you get for each class that you can reach to, and if you get all the way to diamond, you get the best unlocks. And you got to, as I said, you got a week to do it. We're able to do that after 2 attempts, and I only had 1 character out of the 6 that I could use at level 10, and the same as Raddy did. We had a decent person in that knew what they were doing as well, and they were using a level 5 operator. So this is the end game content. You are going to want to get as many of those operators to level 10 as you can. So whenever they give you this selection of 6 operators, you'll have plenty to choose from to try and attempt these every single week. I'm looking forward to streaming this for you. We're actually streaming on the channel this week. We're going to be attempting to get into gold rank, I hope. But it's really fun, and that's going to refresh every single week, and it'll always be the same. There'll be 9 objectives for you on the hardest difficulty for you to go and try and complete and see if you can do all 9 in one go to get above 95,000 XP there for the diamond class. It doesn't work where if you go in 1 and you're going again, it doesn't keep on adding up. If you do only get like 31,000 in a run, when you start next time, you'll be starting from 0 again. And that is the end of this video. I do hope it's been helpful today. I just wanted to put a video out there giving you hints and tips for each of the objectives and letting you know how we complete them. If it has been helpful, don't forget to hit like and share to support the video. Subscribe if you're new here to catch our streams on Rainbow Six Extraction and future content I'm going to do. I've got some more videos planned to release on the game, and they'll be with you soon. So make sure you sub for them. And as I said at the start of the video, if you want people to play with on this game, we do have a fantastic gaming community. It's mainly a Division 1 that's linked down below in the video description, but we've just created a channel for this for people to link up and play with each other. So come and check it out. It's a non-toxic community, and there'll definitely be players there that will be willing to hook up if you need people to play with. Well, thank you for watching this video today. Much appreciated. I'm going to end it there. Stay safe and peace out.